Let's continue to give time for people who are joining us to join us, give them a few minutes. The meeting is also live on YouTube. So when the number reaches a maximum, we have shared a link on the chats. You can share with your colleagues so that they can stream it live on YouTube. We shall be starting shortly. I'm seeing some participants have raised their hands and we have not yet started. Could you kindly type your question on the chats? Could you kindly, if you have a question, could you kindly type it on the chats? We shall be starting at exactly 2:15. Rose Angweni, kindly confirm you have logged in.
Just a minute. Ruth.
Rose?
I'm in. Hello? Hello, Ruth? You can hear me? Hello? Hello, Ruth? Can you hear me? Any of the panelists, can you hear me, please?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hello, Ruth? You can hear me?
We can hear you clearly.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello, Ruth?
Ruth can hear you also.
Okay, that is an echo, I think. Sorry for that.
So we would like to start. We had promised to start at 2:15. Rose, you are ready?
Yes, I think I'm ready.
We can hear you.
Okay, Dr. Patricia Loch, you've been able to join us today. We'd like to acknowledge you. Okay, maybe she'll join us. Mary Mogambi, are you with us this afternoon? Okay, we'll give them time when they join in. So today we are going to be completing the session on monitoring and evaluation. And I welcome you, all of you, to our training session this afternoon. We'll be looking at the PrEP reporting tools and a bit of EMR. And our facilitator for this afternoon is Rose Ayugi from NASCOP Strategic Information Unit. She will be taking us through this question. Our link today is a webinar. We are streaming it also live on YouTube. So if you have participants who have not been able to log in, or when we reach the limit, they can follow the training on YouTube. So without further ado, I would like to invite Rose Angweni to continue with the presentation this afternoon. Karibu, Rose. And I also see our co-facilitator, Songok. We also welcome you. Rose, you can share your screen.
Hello? Ruth, are you able to hear me?
Yes, put your slides on slideshow.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there I am. And I believe everybody is able to see. So welcome everybody. I'll be taking you through the last session of M&E. And I believe all of us were in to go through the previous data sources for PrEP. Just to mention that we have gone through the PrEP clinical encounter form. We have also gone through the PrEP register. We have also gone through the PrEP daily activity register. And so today we are going to go through the last bit of it. That is the prep summary tool. So before I go through the prep summary tool, I just want to say that in order for us to fill in the summary tool, which is the MOH 731 plus, we need to have filled in our register and of course DA. And I know that this also applies to ART. So DAR helps us to summarize our data and be able to populate our register. So just to go through it very fast, what data variables that we have in the DAR that will help us populate the MOH 731, we have the key populations, which you are taken through each and every column, eligible for PrEP, started on PrEP, refills on PrEP, starting PrEP, retested HIV positive, tested HIV positive while on PrEP, diagnosed for STI, and lastly, discontinued PrEP. So these are the key variables that contribute to the indicators that we have in our summary tool. So just wanted to go through that to remind us on what we learned last time. And of course, it is Franklin Songok who took us through that. So I will take you through the PrEP summary reporting tool of the tool, which gives us the purpose of the tool, where the tool is positioned. That is what we call the location. When the PrEP tool is supposed to be completed, when the PrEP summary tool is supposed to be completed, and who is supposed to complete the tool. So the purpose of the PrEP summary tool, that is MOH 731 plus, is to collect monthly summaries of PrEP reportable data elements. So we will be able to go through each one of them and be able to define them so that we understand them and internalize. If we don't understand them and internalize, then we may not be able to have a standard way of reporting, and hence we may not be able to have quality data at the end of the day. So having a common understanding on each of the reportable data element is very important. Where is it located? Each facility will have one summary tool which aggregates data and if at the Health Records and Information Office. So we are saying that each facility is supposed to have one summary at the end of the month. And the Health Records and Information Office, that is where that tool is supposed to be positioned, or that is where it's supposed to be found. So the one responsible for the tool is the Health Records and Information Officer, of course. It's supposed to be completed at the end of the reporting month. If the reporting month, for example, is June, then you are supposed to complete it at the end of June. And of course, we have our timelines for reporting. So I know from the facility level, it's supposed to be every 5th of the month. So that is the time it's supposed to be completed. And this is supposed to be done by either the service provider in the facility, a designated service provider, or a Health Records and Information Officer, or a data clerk, or it depends with the individual facility arrangements. Now, the reportable PrEP indicators, as they appear in the summary tool are elements that have been disaggregated by sex and age. So the age disaggregation include 15 to 19 years, 20 to 24 years, 25 to 29, and then 30 plus. The specific indicators are the ones that have been listed there. And of course, you generate these from the DAR. So the first one is number eligible for PrEP, number initiated, in brackets, you can see there new on PrEP, number continuing PrEP, and number continuing PrEP is the same as refills on PrEP. And the refill forms normally sit at the pharmacy place. The number restarting, number restarting PrEP, which in bracket we said restart. Number currently on PrEP, which is defined as adding the new, that is bullet 2, plus refill bullet 3, plus restart bullet 4. So a total of new plus refill plus restart gives us the total currently on PrEP. Number tested HIV positive while on PrEP is the next indicator. And then we have number diagnosed with STI, and then number discontinued PrEP. Now, all these reportable the elements is in the summary tool booklet. Each of the reporting tools, if you go to their cover pages, that is where we normally put the most of the definitions of this reportable, of these terminologies, or what we require to be populated. So I will share another screen, and that screen that I will share, it will be the tool itself, the summary tool. So I will go through the narration, general, and then I will be able to take you through the tool, including the definitions of those terms in the summary tool. I believe most of us, if not all, have been able to interact with this summary tool one time or another. Sorry for that. So this is just showing us the data use. What can the data collected from the MOH 731 plus be used for? And notably, we are saying that it can be used at health facility level, at sub-county level, county level, and even national level to do analysis of number of clients who are seroconverting, the number with STI, and those who discontinue using PrEP. It can also be used at the various levels to see, to analyze HIV risk patterns for the different population types within the counties or within any geographical area. Then of course, the summary can also be analyzed to help us to plan interventions based on the numbers to improve generally PrEP program and specifically uptake of PrEP. The same can be used for ordering PrEP commodities at any one given time, including PrEP drugs and lab DBS bundles. That is generally commodity. And then of course, also to look at linkage for PrEP clients who seroconvert to CCC for care and treatment. So we will, I will stop sharing this screen and share another screen for the tool itself, so that we are able to go through the tool. Yes. Just a minute, I get my tool to start sharing. So that is my screen for the, no, I think this is not the right one. This is the register. So let me just get the right one. Okay. Ruth, kindly confirm if you can be able to see my screen once more.
Yes, we can see the reporting tool.
Okay. I'm trying to connect with the one with the cover page, and just a minute again. I think I'm a bit I'm unable to end this and share the other one. Let me just try just a little bit. Okay. Yes, I think I'm there. Sorry for that. So what I'm sharing is our summary tool, and to know whether it is the right one, there is a version indicated on top of it here. So this is version August 2018. And that is the title. This is how it looks like. And then on the cover page, the inner part of the cover page, we have the definitions of those key indicators that I just went through. So we'll go through each one of them and try to define the indicators. Now, number one, we talked about number eligible for PrEP. And we have, as I've said previously, the source for this is the DAR. And of course, you will see it also in the clinical encounter. You'll see it in the PrEP register, and you'll also find it in the DAR. Now it's from the DAR that we use it to populate the MOH 731. And eligibility, if you look at what is in the PrEP register, it is mainly talking about the behavioral aspect of the assessment. So based on the behavior of the client, behavioral aspects of the client that were assessed, then one is able to say whether the client is eligible or not eligible for PrEP. And that is what we will extract or populate into the summary tool. So this is the account of all
Rose, we seem to have lost you.
Oh, sorry for that. I think I'm back.
Yes, you're back.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying that number eligible for PrEP, the source is DAR. And of course, we are talking about the behavioral aspect of the assessment. Now, once you look at the behavioral aspect in the clinical encounter and entered this into the register, and this is what will go into the DAR, then that is what we will pick and enter into the MOH 731 as number eligible for PrEP. So in a nutshell, this is a count of all clients by age, sex, and population type who have been assessed and found to be eligible for pre-exposure prophylaxis, that is PrEP. And we are told that it includes any persons who had started PrEP in the past and stopped using PrEP, but has been found eligible to initiate PrEP again. And this reminds us what the definition of our clients who are eligible for PrEP when we were going through the first session. Generally, PrEP is not a lifelong medication, but it is for the period for which somebody is exposed to HIV. And once that exposure ends, then one is allowed to stop taking PrEP. So this is not a lifelong medication. That is why we are saying somebody can pop in and out of taking PrEP. Once that risk is not there anymore, then one can stop PrEP. And then when you are at risk again, you can be able to come back and take or start PrEP. That is why that last statement says that number eligible for PrEP includes any persons who had started PrEP in the past, stopped using PrEP, but has been found to be eligible to initiate PrEP again. So the second one is number newly started on PrEP. That was our second indicator. And this is defined as the number of count of all clients, again by age and sex. I shared with you the age groups that we are reporting on. And of course, sex is either female or male. And of course, population type, as was indicated in the register and the DAR. But this is mainly key population and general population. So this is a count of clients by age, sex, and population type who have been initiated on pre-exposure prophylaxis during the reporting month after meeting the eligible criteria for PrEP. So what we're saying here is that you could have been eligible in the first assessment, the behavioral assessment. And it is possible that at the end of the day, you may not be initiated on PrEP. The reason being, you could be found to be you could be found to be having maybe medical issues that may not allow you to start PrEP, or after the eligibility assessment, the behavioral assessment, and the explanation, the client might still decline to start PrEP. So those are reasons that could create a difference between number 1 and number 2. Not all those who are found eligible will be started on PrEP. So those are the clients who have been initiated on PrEP after meeting the eligibility criteria for PrEP. And this time it includes the medical criteria. Then number refilled PrEP. This is a count of all clients on PrEP by sex again, age and population type, who have come for a refill of PrEP drugs during the reporting period, and their refill date is less than 7 days after next scheduled appointment. I believe we now understand why 7 days. Why 7 days after next scheduled appointment? Now, if you come 7 days after next scheduled appointment, you will fall under number 4. And number 4 is number restarted on PrEP. So what qualifies you to be a restart is if you come for a refill after 7 days, or if you come 7 days after next scheduled appointment date, then you become a what? A restart. So number 4, a restart on PrEP is a count of all clients by sex, age, and population who have stopped using PrEP and they are reinitiated in the reporting month, or their visit date is more than 7 days after the next scheduled appointment date. So that is the person we call a restart. And we said that the restart will go to number 1, will also appear in number 1. They will also contribute to the number eligible for PrEP. Because when they restart, you have to assess them for eligibility. Now, number 5 is number currently on PrEP. Number currently on PrEP is an aggregate count of all clients who are currently receiving PrEP, who are currently, actually, this is a count of all clients who are currently receiving PrEP. It is equivalent of current on at the other side. But for this, are currently on receiving PrEP. So it is a summation of clients who are newly started. Those are actually on PrEP. Those who are coming for refill, and those who are restarting PrEP in that reporting month. Now, the next one is number HIV positive while on PrEP. We know that there are clients who, despite taking PrEP, for one reason or another, they could seroconvert in the process. So we want to know number of HIV positive clients who have on testing, and we agreed that testing is after every 3 months. So when they come for a retest and they're on PrEP, they are found to be HIV positive. So those are the ones we will indicate here. Number diagnosed with STI because every time they come for the 3 months, they are supposed to be assessed, and you assess them for STI also. So we want to know during the same month or reporting period, how many of our PrEP clients are being diagnosed with STI. And of course, we are giving these in terms of age, sex, and population type. This applies for all the indicators. Number discontinued PrEP. This is a count of clients who have discontinued PrEP during the reporting period, regardless of the reason. Whether it is a self-discontinuation or a discontinuation by a health worker. So we just want to know total number that were discontinued on PrEP during the same period. Those are our indicators that we have in the summary, and that was the cover page. And for any reporting tool, if you go to the cover page, you'll be able to get most of definitions of what we have in the content that we have within the tool. So this is how the tool looks like. MOH 731 Plus PrEP Summary Tool, version August 2018. Of course, you have to enter the county, sub-county name, the ward name, the facility name, MFL code, and I believe you are taken through this when you are doing the register, and the DAR, and even the clinical encounter, and month of year that you are reporting. So each of these is just giving you, each of the cells, the major cells, is giving you an indicator by age, sex, and population type. So I mentioned earlier that age groups are 15 to 19 years, 20 to 24 years, 25 to 30 years, and 30 and above. So 30 is included here and excluded here. And in each of the age groups, you'll indicate the sex, whether female or male. The population types we talked about were the general population, and then of course we have the specific key population, the men having sex with men, female sex workers, people injecting drug, discordant couple. So those are the population types that we have in PrEP in all the tools. And of course, for each of the indicator, you'll have to adhere to the same categorization or disaggregation, age, sex, and population type. So the first one there is number eligible for PrEP. Then we have number initiated for PrEP. Then we have number continuing. Those are the refills. Then number 4, number restarting PrEP. And then we have number currently on PrEP. Number tested HIV positive while on PrEP. Number diagnosed with STI. And number discontinued PrEP. So discontinuation, we only want to know the overall. Otherwise, if you go to the clinical encounter and the register, we'll have the reasons for discontinuing PrEPs indicated there. So if you want to do an in-depth analysis of why people are discontinuing PrEP, then of course you will have to specifically go to that tool. But for reporting purposes, we stop at the overall number discontinued PrEP, irrespective of the reasons. Then of course down there you say reported by who, reviewed by who, and you put your signature, and of course the date or when the report was done. There is something I want to mention. In terms of terminologies that we use in PrEP, of course, you can see we don't have retention in PrEP. And the reason why we don't have retention as an indicator in PrEP is because of how PrEP has been defined. It only lasts as long as you are you're exposed to risk. But so long as you're not exposed at ongoing risk, then you can opt to not to continue PrEP. So there is nothing like retaining somebody in PrEP. And this applies even for the discordant couple. I don't know whether Ruth, you will confirm you discussed this again, because I know even discordant couple, when they reach the suppression level, they can, and they also want to, the suppression level, they can opt not to use. But of course, we encourage them to use it throughout. Another thing that we don't, another terminology that people normally use and is not really applied in PrEP is lost to follow up. We don't have lost to follow up in PrEP. We only have lost to follow up in ART. So those have been the two very contentious and frequently used terminologies that we are saying are not supposed to be applied as they are used in ART to PrEP. So we don't have we don't have retention, and we don't have loss to follow up in PrEP. So Ruth, I think I will pause my presentation there and give it back to you, just in case we have inputs, comments, and questions. Thank you. Back to you, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Rose. We have two questions on the Q&A section, which I'll throw back to you and Songok.
Okay.
One of them is, could you please expand on eligible for PrEP? Someone may be eligible for PrEP based on the risk, but what happens if the client refuses to adhere and hence not initiated? How do we capture this? And then the second one from William Namwema, concerning number restarting PrEP, those who have missed their TCA with 7 days. What if the person had enough pills to take them up to the time they came or refilled somewhere if they were still restarting? Will they be still restarting? And then the final one, make it clear for discordant couple, we will still continue PrEP even after suppression. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for those two questions. I somehow tried to explain the eligibility. We have two eligibility in PrEP. One is behavioral eligibility. And of course, we also have the other eligibility in quotes in terms of eligible, in terms of medical condition. Remember, when you are being taken through the clinical encounter, we had two parts: the behavioral section and the medical section. So what we are capturing eligibility in terms of behavioral. That is what we are capturing. And that is why I said there could be a difference between eligible and starting, because you might be eligible in terms of behavioral, but when it comes to medical, then the criteria, you don't meet the criteria of the medical, or you even meet the criteria of medical, but after the explanation, for example, that you'll be in PrEP, the adherence aspect, part of it, you think that this is difficult for me to take or so forth, and you opt not to take as a client. or you opt not to, to be started on PrEP. So you will not appear, as rightly been said, in either eligible or initiated. So that difference, we are silent on it. But in case you want to, we are not capturing data and documenting. But in case one wants to know how many were eligible and did not initiate, then it's just a matter of subtracting the two, and you will be able to know who were in between, who were eligible but were not initiated. But it's not an element, a data element that we are collecting and reporting. But of course, silently, it is available. The second one is, and I believe my fellow panelists will be able to add on that. So the second one is, if one has enough medication, and he has gone past the 7 days, then do we term this person as a restart? I think as a guideline, we had somewhere that we are not supposed to give drugs for more than 1 month. But of course, we are also very much alive to the new situation we are finding ourselves in, that is COVID-19, where I think in the last sessions, we've been able to hear, and of course, guidelines are also shared, that you can be able to give a client more than drugs for more than 1 month. Now, if we are following the previous guideline, then I'm wondering where this client got enough drugs to take him or her beyond the appointment period. So I believe that that could be adherence issues, or I may not be able really to say, but we can all contribute and be able to answer such like concerns. I may not be able to really give our response adequately. And okay, in the midst of COVID, that now we have been given guidelines that we can give drugs for more than 3 months. I think the issue is, how do we capture that data? And brainstorming from last week's training, I think we were somehow agreeing that we may not be able to review the tools at the moment. But I think what we can do, and we can also share this also based on your experiences and what you are currently doing in the field, is that instead of ticking in the DAR, we can, just like in the ART DAR, we provide number of months for which we have given medication, not ticking. The last one, I said I may not be able to, there was a disclaimer. I'm not so sure how it was discussed this last time, but the treatment, clinical treatment team, that is Ruth and team, kindly just elaborate on the last question on whether discordant couples can be able to discontinue and it's still okay. So kindly take that up. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Rose, for that. Our guideline states that the HIV negative partner in a discordant relationship should stop PrEP when the positive partner achieves viral suppression. However, it is good to do to carry out good counseling on this client, because maybe they could be in a relationship with other partner, and the only risk is not from the partner that you know. Then in our last discussion, one thing that came up was also there could be instances that we are not sure there have been patterns of viral load going up and down, even when we do not know, especially when we are monitoring viral load every 6 months. However, the guideline says that the partner should stop PrEP in 6 months. Remember, PrEP should be offered as part of combination preventions. So there are other alternatives that this partner can use. Remember, PrEP is not given alone. It should also be given with condoms. So they can use condoms. We strengthen that, but make sure you counsel your client well. Let them understand why they need to stop. I am seeing some more questions before we go to those. Yes, Dr.
Ruth,
Patricia.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome. Good to have you.
I just wanted to add on the question of how to term somebody who continues to take PrEP. What did they say? That the person has drugs for more than 7 days. So that person really, have they stopped? They have not stopped PrEP. They still have drugs and they are actively on drugs. So what you should ascertain is that, were they truly taking drugs at the time that they come to you? Were they truly taking drugs? So that you do not just assume that, yes, he has told me or she has told me that she had drugs. If she had, where did she get them from? And can she prove to you that she was actually taking the drugs? Otherwise, it's not somebody who has stopped. But as Rose answered well, you know, giving drugs, we give them for 30 days. So they should tell you where they got the drugs for the other 7 days. For the discordant couples, I know this is a perennial problem that people are very comfortable having the discordant couples continue on PrEP. But remember the reason why we are giving PrEP. We are giving to protect the person who is HIV negative. And we are saying that this person who is not HIV, who is HIV negative is likely, could easily get infected by the positive partner if the person is not on treatment and if the person has not virally suppressed. So you want to give PrEP up until the time when the person has virally suppressed. The recommendation says that the guidelines say that that suppression should be achieved in 6 months. But you see people react differently. There could have been different levels of adherence and they have not suppressed. So you should go by the suppression. If the person has been suppressed, then cancel them so that the negative partner stops PrEP. Thank you.
Yes, Ruth.
Yes, Songok, you can proceed.
Yeah. There's a question that was raised about the unique identification. It was raised by someone probably who missed the lessons that we had last week. So let me mention that our unique identifiers are straight numerical, where we are having the MFL code starting. That's the nomenclature. We start with the MFL code, then the year they started PrEP, and then the serial counter, which should start from 0001 and follows up all the way up to infinity, if I may say so. So the difficulty with with I think Lillian, if I'm not wrong, who would ask the question is, so at the end of the year, let's say you have come to the end of 2019 and you're moving to, let's say, 2020, and you are at client 299. So should you move to client 300 in 2020? The answer is yes. So the serial counters, the last serial counter should continue stretch numerically. What would keep changing is the year of enrollment. Remember, your MFL code is standard. That doesn't change. So coming back to the question about the restarting after the 7 days, I think the question that was asked was a bit direct, because definitely by the time whoever asked the question was asking the question, it looked, or it sounded to me like he or she already had some prior information that this client had received some medication from another facility that took them for 7 days. So by the time they're coming back to the facility, they already had some medication. And I think I would probably say the service provider had proof that this individual had medication for the 7 days that they didn't come to the facility. So the answer to that question again is, and Patricia and Rose put it correctly, that client should not be restarted. They'll just continue, having given you the history of the 7 days that he or she missed to come to the clinic. Yeah, so I thought that I needed to just add that on what Patricia and Rose had said. Thank you, and over.
Okay, thank you, Songo. We have a few.
And I've just remembered, Ruth.
Yes.
Ruth.
Yes.
I've just remembered to stress to the participants that this is an issue that we discussed very exhaustively on Module 2, where we discussed initiation and monitoring. When the client comes to you, there is a session that you'll take them through of counseling. There will be a session of determining whether they are adhering to the medication. You are going to explore whether they have any challenges. And during all that, you'll be able to ascertain whether they have been taking medication or not. So that module was very, very important. And we must do all those things so that we can be able to serve these clients correctly.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Patricia. We have a few more questions. One from Marcin Jerry saying, if the client is suppressed and this, okay, if the client is suppressed and the sexual partner is on PrEP, is there any chances for turning positive? Then we have one from Crispin Simiri. If a client is on PrEP and the sexual partner who continues to have a high viral load stop following up clinic appointment, should we consider him lost to follow-up since he has known ongoing risk? Okay, okay. And then there was one, Gordon Okello is asking, the monthly refill as advised may not be possible for facilities that have huge numbers and doing community distribution. This is why some clients are given 3 months refill with caution taken that they are tested at month 6 and month 9 etc. This is applicable for those past month 1. Is it fine? I think we just respond to that. We have a few people who have raised their hands. One asking, Patricia, would you want to respond on the one chances of turning positive for a client on PrEP?
Okay, thank you so much. Again, as Songok said, I think Masinjeri has some case history that they want to share with us. And
Yes.
Without the case history, we cannot be able to answer that question. But what literature is telling us is that what science is telling us is that when the positive partner is virally suppressed, then chances of transmission are almost zero. And that is why we have the U equals U movement going on right now. But of course, we encourage Njeri to share with us what she encountered. Then I will answer the one of Gordon Okello. Gordon Okello, because of COVID, we gave guidance that you are at liberty to give clients medication, drugs for 3 months. That is after they have gone past the 1 month. Because remember, when you initiate, you must see them at 1 month so that you can be able to. So after that, then we can be able to give 3 months. But that is a recommendation that came in because of the challenging circumstances that we are in of COVID. That is not what the guidelines say. The guidelines say drugs are picked every month. You can give a prescription, but they pick every month. But because of COVID, we gave guidance that please, and this also came from WHO, that we can give refill drugs for 3 months because of the restrictions in movements and all that. but it is important to ask the clients to adhere to the testing of the 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, because you want to monitor that they are okay. And for that reason, since that those will not be many, we can arrange how we are testing these people. Are they given appointments to come to the clinic, or are they, whatever modalities that you are using for reaching these clients, we should be able to also do that testing, including visiting them, I suppose. Now, the client who is the one who has a sexual partner who continues to have high viral load, but they stop coming to the clinic. So whom are you considering as lost to follow up? Is it the one on PrEP, or is it the one who is on treatment? Maybe clarify, Crispin. Simbiri, please clarify your question. Whom are you terming as lost to follow up?
Simbiri, you can lift your hand and I will unmute you.
Okay, can you hear me now? You can hear me. All right. I was thinking of when the presenter who was presenting the forms, the documentation, he said that there is no consideration of a person on PrEP as lost to follow up. And then it came into my mind that we could be having a client on PrEP whom we know that his or her sexual partner is not virally suppressed, and he ought to be maintained on PrEP for prevention purposes. And this guy just all of a sudden disappears, does not come for his clinic appointments. We don't know whether they're taking drugs, but they are still having sexual contact with the client whose viral load continues to be high. Wouldn't we surely consider this person lost to follow up because he has a known ongoing risk from the sexual partner who is HIV positive and has high viral load?
But Crispin,
yes,
right from the beginning, we are saying the indication for PrEP in discordant relationships or in people whose HIV status we do not know, PrEP is indicated.
Yeah.
So for the person who is taking PrEP and their partner has got a high viral load, the PrEP is obviously indicated for them, because high is an indication for giving the negative partner PrEP. So unless I'm missing you somewhere, I don't know where your question is coming from.
My concern was the issue of not considering any person on PrEP lost to follow up. But I was just thinking, this one whose partner continues to have high viral load, if they stop coming for their clinic appointments and taking drugs, I feel they should be considered as lost to follow up. That was my concern.
I get you now.
Yeah.
I get you. So you are saying that the client who is positive is still coming to the clinic.
Yes,
and
the client who is, yes.
Viral load is still high.
Yes.
Then the one who was on PrEP has disappeared.
Yes.
We won't say they are lost to follow up because maybe their risk status changed. You have not heard anything from them. Maybe they ran away, they separated, something happened. So how can we know? We have not seen them to tell us what happened. They disappeared.
Right. In that case, then we know. But if we know that they're still together, the client on treatment still says that they're still together in such a situation.
Let me put it this way, Crispin. Let us not make assumptions. Let us deal with the client face to face. Let him tell us what, or her, what is happening, know how to categorize the client.
Okay, but
it's not there.
can I also chip in?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is also a matter of choice, because we know that under prevention, it's not only PrEP that a partner can choose to have. We have other preventive methods also, like consistent use of condom. So if a couple, for example, chooses to consistently use a condom, if they choose not to use PrEP, I think that is okay, and it cannot be a loss to follow up. And so I don't think that in PrEP at any one given time, we will really have a loss to follow up. What we know is this client discontinued. And I want to link that to Lillian's Berere's question, that those who missed after 7 days, how do we term them for reporting purposes? What we said is that if they have missed for after 7 days, that is a discontinuing or a discontinued client. And discontinuing is either a health worker discontinuing or a self discontinuing. So in PrEP, we are using the term discontinuing PrEP and not loss to follow up. And also this is based on the definition of PrEP. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your responses. I don't know if we have any hands up so that we can respond. I'm not seeing any hand up. So we have been joined by HTS PrEP Program Manager. I've seen Homer Hills Health Center hands up. Let's give Mary an opportunity to greet us, and then we will respond to your question. Mary?
Thank you, Ruth, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, the panelists and all the participants who are here. This training wouldn't be possible without you. We are even live this time. This is great progress. I'm really impressed. Congratulations to Ruth and the team of panelists, Patricia, Rose, Songok, and Jane. Thank you so much. So just to say, as we go through PrEP, once we finish the PrEP modules, you'll be able to go through the HTS modules as well. So this will be going on every Wednesday, same time, so we can be able to continue capacity building you as you offer services, even in the era of COVID. I don't have much on my side, but just to thank you for attending. Back to you, Ruth.
Okay, thank you. We have a comment from Evelyn Bosek telling us that let us remember that the clients we have initiated on PrEP are not seroconverters. We have a problem on reporting on the KHIS where the numbers reported as seroconversions are quite high. And when we do follow up, we realize that these are actually the number of facilities started on PrEP in that month. So let's be careful with our reporting. All the seroconverters are those who have tested HIV positive while on PrEP. So our facilitator, our panelist who was to take us through the PrEP EMR has not been able to join us. So I will take comments from, maybe we had a question from Homer Hills. Kindly unmute Homer Hills so that they can ask their question. We'll take a few questions and then we shall end our session there. Homer Hill, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay. Thank you, Daktari. Some reason to discontinue from pre-admissions. Let's say a client has some medical conditions like the renal dysfunction, and the immediate and the drugs for PrEP are TDF, FGC. So with the TDF, we said with the TDF, we have some, it affects the kidney. So what's the immediate drug instead of TDF for client to be initiated on TDF. Thank you.
Thank you. So for a client who has a renal toxicity, is it due to TDF, or is a client who comes to you, they are at a substantial ongoing risk of contracting HIV, and you're considering starting them on PrEP, then you realize that they have renal toxicity? Because we can have those scenarios. We can have a client who develops toxicity while on PrEP and a client who comes to you and they already have toxicity. So if you do your creatinine clearance for this client and it is above the cutoff point, you will not initiate this client on TDF FTC-based regimen. There are other options for HIV prevention, because all the current regimens that we are using for PrEP, as outlined in our guideline, are TDF-based regimens. So for this client, we would recommend other options for HIV prevention, like consistent condom use, risk reduction counseling, and all the other options that are available. But PrEP may not be indicated for them because we do not currently have an anti-DF-based regimen. Any further question? Okay, I will, if no further question, I will open
There's
it
a
up.
Question.
Okay.
Ruth.
Yes.
There's a question based on what I said about U equals U. I don't know whether it is a question or it is a comment from Dr. Bonventure. And he says, the U equals U, is it applicable for clients on PrEP in serodiscordant couples? Now, I just want to clarify that when I gave my answer made reference to U equals U, where now the person who was infected becomes virally suppressed and the levels cannot be detected at all. They're virally suppressed. So what science tells us is that that person will not be able to transmit infection. You can only transmit infection to a person who is negative, and the transmitter can only be positive. So obviously, yes, it applies to serodiscordant couples, because in serodiscordancy, we have one person infected and one person is negative. I hope that clarifies.
Okay.
Over.
Okay, we have one more question from Gordon Okello on the question and answer platform. A client may pass appointment date by 10 days, but on evaluation, you realize the client skipped in days that are not consecutive. How do you capture this in electronic database that locks out such options? Songo, could you want to respond to this?
Sorry, just repeat the question again. You said kindly.
A client may pass appointment date by 10 days, but on evaluation, you realize the client skipped in days that are not consecutive. How do you capture this in electronic data that locks out such options?
Well, that one I need to confirm because I'm not really I wouldn't give a direct answer because I'm not so familiar with the EMR bit on PrEP. Huh? So probably let me follow that up. Then I can answer directly to the person. I don't know who that one is. I could reach out to him or her directly.
It's from Gordon Okello.
Gordon Okello.
Yeah.
So Gordon, kindly get in touch with me directly. I'll have to follow that up so that I can give you an answer.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Songok,
yes.
Excuse me. Songok, I think you can just give the answer, because I think when somebody asks, it might apply to many people. So we can give the answer to everybody, please.
Yeah, Patricia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm saying that is I need to really find out, unless you have an idea of, because personally I've not really interacted with the PrEP EMR. I don't want to lie. So that's what I was saying. I need to really confirm about the logging, because his problem is if for instance a client misses within the month intermittently, as in it's not like a continuous period, that client is locked off automatically. So I really need to understand the basics of that so that I can be able to give an answer.
Yeah. My comments on Gok was that don't just give it on only.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can give the answer to the whole group, not just to Gordon.
No problem. No, I get what you're saying, Patricia. That's fine. That's fine. I'm hoping that we still have another session next week. And we were thinking, and this would probably be able to sort us out. We were thinking of having a session next week to go through the EMR bit. So if for instance, we agree that we're going to have that session next week, then that would really sort us out, and that would answer Gordon's question. And it will also be beneficial to all of us if we probably could create time for the EMR.
That is okay, Songok. So Gordon, we request you to hold on to your question. We will arrange for an EMR session next week, and we respond to that question and many more. So
Ruth, can I say something?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, when she's sorting herself out, Ruth, maybe I can. Julia Sooko is asking, when you restart a client on PrEP, do you assign a new unique identifier or you continue with the previous one?
When you sorry?
When you restart
a
client, you assign a unique identifier or you continue with the previous one. It looks like Julius was not in last week.
No problem, we can answer that. Julius, you do not assign a new unique identifier to someone who is being restarted. Remember, the catchword here is restarting. So that means that already been registered. They already have a unique identifier. What needs to happen for that particular client is they have to go through behavioral assessment and the clinical assessment before you restart them on PrEP. But to answer directly to your question, you do not assign a new unique identifier. They will continue with the old number. Over, Patricia.
So
there's another question here.
Yes, proceed.
The questions are very interesting. Can one use PrEP only without a condom, especially in discordant relationship? Surely.
Hiyo ni yako, Patricia.
Watch a Ruth repeat. Ruth just answered it. Ruth, repeat.
So can one use PrEP only without condoms? No, if we are adhering to our guideline, the guideline indicates that even without, they should use a condom at all times. So there should be consistent condom use. Condom will prevent unplanned pregnancy and STIs, which PrEP will not. So they should always use PrEP in addition to consistent condom use.
Ruth, kindly confirm if the vice versa is then true.
Which one?
If you can use condom without PrEP.
So, yes, you can use condoms without PrEP. That is true. But if you're using...
That is the whole concept.
Yes.
That's the whole concept of combination prevention, which you choose from.
And what stands out in combination prevention is the use of condom, especially for prevention with positives.
Well, I have a suggestion. Ruth, can I say something regarding the EMR? I know we were supposed to do it today, but Songok, if it's you who's taking us through the EMR, start from the HTS section, going all the way to prep, because you have to begin at testing, so that there is continuation. I mean, it's continuous how you begin from testing and then to prep. If that can be done in the next Wednesday.
Yeah, we can organize to go through both. It's doable. We can organize, because I mean, we will dedicate next week Wednesday for EMR, so we can through the HTS bit, and then we go through the prep the prep bit. So I think it's something that's doable. I know there are two separate modules, but yes, we can do both within the stipulated time period.
That will be great to show how the linkage from HTS to prep, so that we don't lose any, our linkage can be better. Thank you so much. I don't see, okay, let me see if there is an additional question. So there is one more question. Homer Hills Health Center, they are asking, what is the impact of long-standing use of PrEP in seroconvert gland? Does it lower the efficacy of HERT considering TDF role? Dr. Patricia, you would want to handle that?
Sorry, I was on another thing. Say that again.
Homer Hills Health Center, they are asking, what is the impact of long-standing use of PrEP in seroconvert clients? Does it lower the efficacy of HERT considering TDF role?
Bosek is on the line. I think
Yes.
that was the module covered by Bosek last week. So Bosek can answer that. Not last week, the 2 previous weeks.
Bosek, kindly raise your hand. You can unmute you. You can go ahead. Unmute yourself and proceed.
Sorry. So I was saying, in such a scenario, if a client did not develop any kind of resistance, then it doesn't hamper any kind of the treatment regimen the client is started on. As long as drug resistant, as long as the client doesn't have any drug resistant mutations. I hope it is clear.
You may have to repeat again. You are breaking a bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're clear now.
Okay, I was saying, as long as the client who seroconverted did not have any kind of drug-resistant mutations, the first-line treatment should not be, the efficacy of the treatment should not be of any problem, as long as there are no mutations that were detected when a drug-resistant test was done.
Thank you, Bosek. We remember that we should always do HIV testing when it is recommended as per our guideline, at enrollment, at 30 days, then at month 3, and thereafter every 3 months. This one will help us to be able to identify clients who seroconvert early enough. Remember, PrEP is a 2-drug regime, and our HERT is usually a 3-drug-based regimen. So we don't want to undertreat our clients and expose them to the risk of mutations. So let's do our HTS when it's due. We are winding up now. They have lifted their hands. Kindly unmute your mic and ask your question.
Which one?
Krista Marian Hospital.
Media. No, it has been, I did. Oh, ineligible.
Krista Marian, if you can hear, unmute your mic and speak, ask your question. Okay. Thank you for all who have made a comments on the chat section. This is a webinar. If you have a question, kindly use the question and answer to make it easy to track your questions. Well, I'm going to, Krista Marian, they are not speaking. So I'm going to invite the co-facilitators, the panelists, to make any comments if they have as we come to the end of the session this afternoon. This was live on YouTube, so you can get the training session for today from YouTube. So Dr. Patricia, any comments or remarks from you?
Has to give remarks here. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
I'm multitasking. No, I want to thank the participants. And it's really very good to have all the questions answered so that we clarify all the doubts and things which people are not clear about. But I would also encourage you to, those who missed other sessions, to go over the slides that we shared. We shared the slides of the previous modules, right from the need for prep, communication, and then the initiation plus monitoring. So it would be nice for you to go over those slides. It will also be nice for you to get hold of the ART guidelines and the prep toolkit and just familiarize yourself with a lot of these questions that you are asking are in all those documents. So I would encourage you to do that, please. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending, and we see you next week. And the other thing, probably, we don't want to shut out any questions. If you have any other question that you know is lingering around in your mind, please, you can be able to reach us on email. So you can be able to send that question through, to us at any time, and we shall be glad to answer and respond to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I see a question from Consolata Madari asking, where did we share the slides? So we shall follow up to make sure that you get them.
No.
Yes.
Let me ask Consolata. Consolata, which hospital are you in? Can you ask?
Lift your hand, Consolata, then we'll unmute you. Lift up your hand so that I can see you and unmute you.
So that we tell her the person to ask.
Go ahead and mute your mic and speak. Unmute your mic and speak, Consolata Mathari. Okay, it seems they are not able to unmute their mic.
Let me ask her the question on the chat.
Okay. So Rose, you would want to make some final comments before we close? And Songok?
Thank you, Ruth. You can hear me? Oops.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Okay, I just want to say that we are very grateful for the turnout, and we believe we should be able to improve our reporting rates, and of course the quality of data that we are now going to receive from now henceforth. And in case of any question and misunderstanding on the indicators or any data elements or any tool, just like Patricia has said, please reach out to us. We'll be able to and are really ready to assist and support this team. Thank you.
Okay.
Ruth, just to add, to answer data and to everybody that the slides were sent to your implementing partners, the ones who have facilitated you to be on this call, the ones who gave you the link on this call. We shared the slides with them. So please get hold of your implementing partner to give you the slides, because we didn't have your email addresses, all of you. So we could only reach your implementing partners. And if they are facilitating you to be here, they should be able to give you the slides as well.
Thank you, Patricia. Franklin Songok, any comments?
Yeah, so thank you very much, team, for making time to participate in this training. I know it's been a bit tricky having what I would call physical trainings, but this platform has provided us with an opportunity to interact with you virtually. This is what we've always been looking out for, and I'm glad we've had an opportunity of taking you through some of these contentious issues in as far as the money bit is concerned. However, moving forward, if you have any areas that you think you're not clear with, we are always available. You can reach out individually. We are looking forward to having another session next week, more specifically looking at EMR. And as Mugambi has requested, we will start with HTS and go through the prep module. So we are hoping to also interact with you next week. Those EMR related questions, please hold on to them. Next week would be provide us with an opportunity to ask, and we'll be able to answer all of them appropriately. So thank you very much and have a blessed afternoon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Songok. And finally, Mary, you're still, are you still on?
I'm still on. Thank you very much. And thank you for participating. People, see you next week, Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you all. See you on Wednesday. And thank you, IT team.
Yes, this was very good because we controlled all the background noises. Thank you so much. Apart from Patricia talking on the phone.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, Collins.
Okay. And then for the next sessions, I would recommend that we be in an area where we can use our videos.
Okay.
Because for the live stream, people are just seeing a blank screen.
Oh, okay.
Only when you share screen is when they can see someone is presenting.
And thank you, Collins. We're also requesting if you can give us the link a bit earlier. Is it possible so that we can circulate it widely?
Yeah, it's possible. I can share the link earlier for the next meeting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Songok and Ruth and Mary, I'm going to send an email. There was a question last week, which I'm not too sure that I understood it well. And I've even forgotten what it was.
I hope, Collins, you can end the live stream.
Patricia, when you remember, I'm here.